In this exercise, we're going to recreate the calculator that we created in the last chapter. So we'll start out by creating some variables, first for our scanner objects, and if you remember, we have problems scanning numbers into our program, so we need a scanner object for each number. So we're going to create two scanner objects for numbers, and also a scanner object for our operator. Then we need to create a couple of variables, so we'll create two variables, double num1 and num2. Yeah, I believe that's all we need. So the strategy behind this program is to have the calculator run all the time. And then we switch it off by pressing Control-C to close the program, kind of like how you turn a calculator off by pressing the off button. It's a little less elegant than that because you'll see an error message when you pull it up. But the other choice is to prompt the user somehow. And because all we're prompting for are numbers and operators, it would be difficult to have the user enter a letter to stop, or sometimes you have a special number indicate the end of the input, but what would a special number be to a calculator, since a calculator could calculate with any number? So the best thing to do is just have the user press Control-C when they want to stop. So here's how we'll write that program. We begin by writing a while true loop that's going to run all the time. Then we prompt the user to enter the first number, and we're going to make these very basic prompts. Num1 equals input num1 dot next double. Prompt them for the second number. Num2 equals input num2 dot next double. Then prompt them for the operator. And op equals, oh I see, I forgot to create an object for that. So we'll come back to do that in just a second. Op equals input op dot next. Now let's move right up here and add that to our list of variables. Now we're ready to write a series of if-else-if statements. If op equals plus, then we're going to write out systemout.println num1 plus num2. Else if op equals minus, let's copy this and just change the operator. Save us a little bit of time here. Change that to a minus sign. In fact, let's just copy this whole thing and we'll just change it appropriately. Move down, change that to an asterisk, and right here also. And then finally, to save a little time, we won't do any error checking, so we'll assume that the user is going to enter the correct operator, and if not, then it's just going to kind of spin around crazy and then it will write itself. We'll try it to see what happens. So let's save the program. I believe that's all we need. So this loop is going to run continuously until we hit Control-C. Java-C, chap9, part9, .java, and then Java, chap9, part9. Let's do something easy. 12 plus 2, 14, that's right. 2.24, 3.12, minus will be a negative number, right? 105 multiply is 500, that's correct. And 234, 13 divide, very good. Now let's try an odd operator, 23, 12, and let's do the caret symbol. And it just comes back and doesn't know what to do with that, so it just bounces out of the ifs and this moves back up and prompts for the first number again. And then when we want to quit, we just hit Control-C and the program stops. So there's another example of where looping gives us a lot of power in the program, because now we have a calculator that pretty much runs continuously unless we press Control-C to stop. Again, there are better ways to write calculators, but we don't know how to parse lines of input, so we have to prompt at this point for each piece of input, a number and an operator. But with more advanced programming skills, we could learn how to enter essentially a string, 2 plus 2, and then have our program parse the number 2, the operator plus, and then the other number 2 into what are called tokens, and then it could calculate appropriately. But we're not at that stage just yet. So that wraps up our exercises for while loops, and now in the next lesson we're going to look at an exercise for for loops.